Hello, I'm doing a book review, and the book I want to review is What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. Now, this is a one-shot Superman comic written by Joe Kelly and illustrated by Doug Mahnke, I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right, and Lee Bermejo, and this was first published in Action Comics issue 775 in 2001. Now, the character of Superman was originally created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Now, I have the story in this collection called Superman: A Celebration of 75 Years. Now, I reviewed this whole collection back in 2021 because I do these Superman reviews at the beginning of every year. Now, what's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way is considered by many to be one of the best Superman comics ever written, and for good reason too, because this is a damn good comic. Now, the comic was written as sort of a response to how dark superhero comics were becoming at the time. Like, throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, that really was the era of the anti-hero in comics. Like, you had the influence of Image Comics, which you could feel in even a lot of Marvel and DC stuff at the time, and it really was sort of the era of the edgy superhero. Now, specifically, the villains of this comic were sort of a parody of the superhero team The Authority, originally created by Warren Ellis. So, the plot of the comic is it's about Superman going up against a group of metahumans known as the Elite, who go after criminals, supervillains, and terrorist organizations. In a way, they do the same thing that Superman does, except that they actually kill the people that they fight, which Superman feels is going too far and makes them extremists. And a lot of the comic is really a battle of ideologies between Superman and the Elite's leader, Manchester Black, who feels that Superman's ways are outdated and feels that the world is becoming a darker place and needs a darker, more ruthless breed of hero, but Superman has to prove that his way still works. But yeah, it's a great comic, and it's also a really clever metafiction commentary on the comic book industry and comic book fandom at the time. I'm sure there were a lot of comic book fans at the time who thought Superman was cheesy or outdated, and in a lot of ways this comic is sort of commentating on that. But the comic also plays on this idea of, is the world becoming a darker place, and does it need a darker breed of hero, or is that even more of a reason for a more optimistic, hopeful hero like Superman to counteract the darkness, to counteract the nihilism? So yeah, I know this was a short review, but this wasn't a terribly long comic to begin with, but if you're a Superman fan, or if you're a comic book fan in general, I recommend this. Now, the character of Manchester Black would go on to be in other Superman and DC comics, like, I think he does eventually become a member of the Suicide Squad. This comic was also adapted into the 2012 animated film Superman vs. the Elite. It was also adapted into an episode of Supergirl, obviously using Supergirl as a stand-in for Superman. So yeah, that was my review on What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way by Joe Kelly, and bye.